What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm BDLM, coming with my buddy J4Y, and tonight DoD presents our discussion with Roro of Simplydota. It is a pleasure to have you on the show, Roro. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a pleasure to actually be here, like I said before. Like I contacted you guys through Twitter. I'm a long-time listener. I love your guys' show, and it's good to be here.
Thank you very much. And Jay, how are you? Are you alive?
I'm alive. No, I'm here. I'm good. Appreciate the kind words, sir. We're glad to have you here as a fellow content creator, making your way. You're already breaking some waves, though. It's pretty impressive, actually. So
yeah, just a little tinkle here and there.
You gotta start with the tinkle to get to the full stream. So
that's true, I guess.
So yeah, I guess tell us a little bit about Simplydota, which you've been working on for a while now, and how long have you been working on it so far?
Okay, so Simplydota is essentially it started out as sort of an outlet for me to just help people out. You know, at the beginning, my first video, maybe about a year ago, it started out as me just helping out some of my buddies here and there. You know, they kept asking me similar questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? And after a while, I got tired of it. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm making a video, and then I can just refer to it from here on in. And then, unfortunately, I had a pretty big break. I think it was about maybe 9 months after those first sort of influx of videos. I started working on, you know, school.
Real life stuff.
Yeah, IRL stuff, exactly. And
Stupid
then,
real life.
Yeah, like it just gets in my way, man. And then after a while, you know, Ranked came out, and I sort of was like, being as competitive as I am, I'm like, I'm gonna get. Because I got placed at 3.8k MMR. Like, how ridiculous is that? You know,
ridiculous, good or bad?
Well, to me, it's like I thought I was Dendy. You know, I was like, oh, okay, I'm freaking Dondo. So it was a pretty big reality check, and then I just grinded my way to about maybe 5k, and then I started just insta picking Meepo because that hero's broken, and now I'm at like 5.5.
Are you sure that you're not like a friend of ours throwing your voice and having done this all on the side? Because that actually sounds really similar to Bonk, actually. Has literally done the exact same thing except for creating Simplydota. His channel is actually called Simpler Dota, so, you know, it's like, it's close, you know, it's almost an exact copy.
We're like doppelgangers.
Yeah. Two sides of the same coin.
Right, but that's really impressive. Wow, that's a huge MMR spike. Yeah, I mean, you never know what you're gonna when you come out of that rating thing. What's gonna happen? I mean, I've been saying time and time again, I have yet to play one game towards my solo MMR. I'm still scared to do it, frankly. But party one, I remember. I think I had like 8 out of my 10 games were losses, and I think half of them were Tusk games because I was doing that challenge at the time. For whatever reason, I'm like, this will be a good idea. Like, let's just see where my MMR goes from here. But yeah, like 8 losses, and I still got like 4k. So I was like, okay, I guess there was a little more to it than that.
As far as I know, it takes into consideration not win and loss. It takes into consideration your I was gonna say APM. I've been playing too much StarCraft lately. It takes into consideration your GPM and your XPM and your kills and deaths. So if you have a game where you're playing a support, or let's say you play all 10 games as support, you're not gonna get as high as an MMR. Like after the placement, as you would if you were like, you know, picking Storm Spirit TA every game and you were like 12-0. So
Meepo.
Yeah, Meepo, exactly.
What you're telling me is that I have an excuse for my MMR.
Exactly.
And I am on board with that. But no, that's actually I feel like a great place to start, because obviously your channel is a lot about just trying to improve, and the thing that I really like about it too is it's about improving at like the intermediate level, where it's like once you get beyond the tutorial and like what is exactly going on, it's really about sort of trying to get sort of the marrow out of the bone, so to speak. You know, trying to get as much out of the game as you can. And especially like looking back to what we were talking about last week, you know, it seems like there are so many places where, you know, you can try to blame other people for losses, but, you know, all of us wind up making these small mistakes, or these not even mistakes where you don't even know where the opportunities there where you can help even more. Do you have like one thing that you could say to like other people where you go, you know what, I feel like this is a really strong place to start. This is like a great, I guess, key to boosting your own personal play?
You know, I do. So, like, essentially, Simplydota it's all about the it's like the unwritten code of being better at Dota, really, because these are the sort of tips that you don't learn just from playing. That's why I try to typically steer away from guides like, oh, what does this hero do? What does this hero do? Because you can just learn that by playing the game, right? And that's exactly what you should do. So, like you said, it is sort of more centered around the intermediate player, because that's when the sort of skill plateau starts occurring, where, okay, I know all the heroes, I know all the items, what do I do now? And that's when these sort of nuanced mechanics of, how to exploit this, how to do this, how to pull the creep aggro back, that kind of stuff, that's when that really kicks in. So in my videos, a lot of the time I use the phrase where I just say, just think. And it's something, especially when I play party ranked, and because my party ranked is way below than my solo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I play with people lower level than me, or a lower skill level than me, and you can really just tell that a lot of people don't think about what they're actually doing. A lot of it becomes habitual. Like, I've seen many times where this, like, mid-hero, for example, let's say it's a TA, they saw Mu, building drums Yasha on the hero, but they don't understand why he did it. They just kind of do it without thinking. Whereas, the enemy team has 5 super squishy heroes and, a Mirana or a Slark or something. If you have a Blink, you're going to do way more better in that game, because you're just going to blow all the heroes up. You're going to be able to catch up with the Mirana and the Slark, and you can just, go from there. So it's not really strictly limited to itemization. It's even just about, am I going to get this last hit, or am I going to get this deny? You know what I mean? People just don't really seem to think as much as they should. And I really think that's what distinguishes a good player from, like, a really, really, really good player.
Sounds simple.
Simply Dota. Love how you tie that in, man.
I gotta say, I completely agree with you, because me and Jay have talked about just how we came to Dota 2 and stuff. Played some Dota 1, and we played some Han, and even some League of Legends, and in some of those other games when we were sort of less experienced at the scene and the type of game, we'd go like, oh yeah, well, this gets done in competitive this way, so this is good and this isn't good, when really you are just looking at the details instead of the reasons why. Like you're saying, oh, this is the build, so this is why I'm going to do it, instead of actually looking at what were the circumstances that caused that. And even when you look at one, a challenge Jade of the Tusk thing, you start to see all these different scenarios, and you have to sort of learn, okay, well, this is why this worked, this is why this didn't work. And when you have some of these really structured things put in place, you really, I feel get a really great sense of that greater arc. But
I think I preface everything when we talk about item builds with, do it for the game. I think I say that in almost every episode we talk about a hero, because it's very true. We even try to do it when we play with our friends. We try to get them to think about it, instead of, they might ask, what should I get next, guys? And we'll say, well, let's look around the team. What do you think you should get? We try to help develop the cognitive thing, because, if you're just kind of copycatting everyone or just following a guy blindly, you're not really going to develop as a player. You might do well that game, or you might, get some kind of performance, but you're not developing. You're not enhancing your skills, your knowledge, and that's kind of how you grow to be overall better player. So, yeah, I agree also completely.
That's, touching back on that really cliched saying, what is it? If you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. If you teach him how to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life, or something, right? That's that's kind of exactly what this whole thing is about. It's if you just follow this build, maybe 1 or 2 times out of 10 it'll work out for you, but you don't know why you're doing that build. If you understand why, you're gonna be able to do a right build 10 out of 10 times, and that's gonna bring you so much opportunity and potential to make really big plays.
What if he's not near water, though? Would the fish be better at that in that case? I mean, I'm just trying to figure this out.
Competitive advantage.
But no, it definitely makes that phrase actually is pretty legit.
You can actually apply that phrase to anything. If I'm in class or something, and my professor's like, "Hey, where's your homework?" I'll just be like, "If you teach a man how to fish, you will be full for the rest of his life." And then mind blown, he'll just leave me alone for the rest of the class.
That was the test.
You know what? You're right. See you next time. And then backs away. Perfect.
I actually had a philosophy final in my last semester in university.
It all makes sense now. It's all coming together.
One of the essay questions at the very end, and it was worth 50 marks out of 200. The whole test was out of 200, and it was what are you sitting on right now?
Oh.
And I looked down, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm sitting on a chair, and like I just had no idea what to write. Like it was, you know what, philosophy Dota, exact same thing.
The real question, or the great answer, would be something like, "How do you know I'm sitting?" or "What is sitting?" Something like that. You just like completely, just like mind f right back in your face.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what you have to end up doing. Like, is this really a chair? Am I in the Matrix? What's going on, man?
This is not Dota related at all, and just getting off topic, so much fun. I study art history, and I had exams where it'd be like, "You have never seen this before. Talk about it and tell me why it matters." And you're like,
I'm
what?
not sure. It does matter. Like, what's going on here?
It matters because I need an A in this class, and I need to tell you about it.
Pretty much, yeah. So I basic question. I mean, who's your favorite hero? Who do you
My
like
favorite hero.
Who are you doing Who did you do your MMR climb
Well,
with?
we know
other than
Meepo after, right? But what's before?
You know what? The thing is, I say Meepo is broken, but I think every hero in Dota is broken if you play it, play them properly. Like this is a.
Then I guess it's really balanced if everyone's broken, right?
Everyone's broken, but no, like I guess you could say everyone's balanced and like kind of in the reciprocal of that. But everyone's broken, like as in, if you play a hero really well, that hero is broken because you just know every single nuance mechanic with that hero. Then all of a sudden it just becomes like a different hero almost. So I tend not to. I tend to just fiend over like one hero and then play that for like a month, and then I'm like, that hero is so bad like a month later. So probably right now, TA, Slark, and Storm Spirit, and Ember Spirit. Those are like my 4 go-tos right now, maybe.
Do you play them all mid, or do you like to mix it up? Do some safe lane, some of those.
I usually play mid in pubs. It's the easiest to win, in all honesty.
Makes sense.
You just have the most control over the game. That being said, if you're not a good mid player, like you just need to acknowledge that and be like, okay, I'm gonna go practice in unranked, or I'm just gonna 1v1 my friend like 1,000 times in a day, and then I'll play mid. But if you're a good mid player, you should definitely play mid in pubs.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, exactly.
I personally can agree 100% with every word that just came out of your mouth because I am admittedly the worst person at mid. And Jay is pretty good at it, so we actually did take a day where we just 1v1'd against one another because when we were talking about like, oh, we should do this MMR climb, we should pick some heroes, and he was like, oh, I guess I'll do Wind Ranger, and I was like, all right, dude, let's do it. I'll play some stuff because that was like around the same time that I was really enjoying watching the Death Prophets. That would like not get their ultimate at 6 and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'll mess around with that some more. So it's like, yeah, it's I think nice, and especially like too in the theme of like your videos where you stop and really take a look at one thing that's going on. Like, where should I ward? Where's warding happening? How should I try to dive past the tower, control the tower aggro? When you really focus on one particular thing, you really can just learn it so well that it really, I think, goes far beyond and actually like matters to your I guess net gain and knowledge. And so exactly. If you're bad at one-on-ones, go one-on-one somebody a bunch, or even if like you see a game and there's a hero you really like, instead of just being like, oh man, this hero got out of control and you just took over the late game, you see how he got in that position to go out of control. And when you look really closely at those things, I think it really helps a lot.
Yeah, the like I used to play mid competitively, like I don't know, like a while ago. I don't know the exact time, but it was a while ago. It was in the past sometime. And
not the future? Are you sure?
Sometime before now.
Maybe it was in the future. Exactly, sometime before now. But I play support now, but because support's the best role. Woot woot, represent.
Oh, you're talking to the right guy over there.
Support's honestly the best role. But anyways, when I used to play mid, me and my buddy, like who I was playing competitively with, and like he was on my team, we were like the 2 solo laners, and we would always just think of the craziest things to play against each other with. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm gonna play Wisp and you play like, Pudge or something. It was more like, I'm gonna sit and farm in this lane at level 1 on like a Shadow Fiend, and you're gonna sit wherever you want, and you're gonna have access to like, you can give yourself like 3,000 gold, and you're gonna be level 8, and you're just gonna try to kill me. Like for example, like he would play Potom, and he would have like level 8, and I would be like level 2, and he would just try to arrow me, and it really helped because after a while of playing like that sort of mode, we played it maybe for like 2 hours or something. when I went back into a game, the next time there was a Potom on the other enemy team, I never got hit by an arrow. Like, never. And, like, that's exactly what you were talking about. Once you start to sort of focus your scope down on what you want to get better at, like, one at a time, you can improve, like just exponentially faster than if you were, like, you know, trying to improve at, like, a jack-of-all-trades sort of way.
You ready for a baseball analogy?
Oh,
sure. Hit me.
It's like using one of those weights on your baseball bat when you're practicing, and then when you get to up to bat. Well, okay, I didn't have the term. I don't watch baseball, so the analogy still stands. All right, I apologize for my lack of terminology, but you let me finish the point. You take the weight off when you go up to bat, and it's so much easier to get the swing all the way around. So essentially, you're playing like at a big disadvantage here in these practices. And when you go up against a real thing, you're so ready for the hardest scenario that these other easier ones are like nothing, like water off your back.
Exactly. Like I said, if there was a Potom on the other enemy team, I literally, without even like a lane word, I just wouldn't get hit by an arrow. In fact, I was like hoping, I was like, please Potom, please sit mid, because then all of a sudden that Potom's level 1 at what, like 10 minutes, and then it's just, there you go, easy win.
I feel like too, that's a really good example of when you have even I guess favorable conditions, or even if it's even, sometimes you can just get less out of that than if you're playing in something where you're just like backs up against the wall. Like, you know, I've brought this up so much lately, but just because I think it's such a great example of why it's so important to like keep cool and have fun playing with the some of Shane's games where he just like, they wind up with ridiculous team compositions. And you know, I feel like some people just go like, "Oh, game's over, throw in the towel, whatever." But instead of doing that, they just make it work.
Yeah, exactly.
By just keeping their head in the game, being focused because they know they're up against something challenging, and you know, applying their game knowledge to that situation. Even though it's weird, they might not ever see it again. But even just playing like that, you sort of realize what you're capable of doing, and gives you some additional insight.
Exactly. I'm not sure if you guys watch Sing stream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've been watching him stream a lot lately, just because I kind of, I
Don't say you're going to learn a lot from this stream. Actually, go ahead. Maybe you do. Go on, please.
I actually learned a lot from his stream. I'm not sure if, you know, if you're lower, like let's say you're 3K, maybe he's not the best streamer to watch at that point. But when you're really, like when you're higher up, you can learn things from how he plays, or even any other player, not because they're talking about it, because you're just watching them do something and you understand why they're doing it, but you just never thought of it before. But anyways, I was going to say, if you watch him stream a lot, you'll notice that the stack he always plays with, they all random. And in one game, they're all, like, there's 5 carries, and then none of them are even mad, and all of a sudden, like, the Luna is, they have a roaming Luna, and the Luna is, like, 6 slotted at 30 minutes somehow, and you're like, how does that even happen, right? And I feel like in most games, pubs or whatever, that Luna is just going to quit, you know, go feed the enemy team or whatever, and like you miss all the shots you don't take, right? That Luna wouldn't have been 6 slotted if she just ran around feeding.
Yeah,
all the phrases, don't you? You have all the phrases tonight. This is just exciting just to lay back and watch it.
I got a lot of quotes, man. I got a lot of quotes.
Do we need like a thing at the end that like lists them all off or something? Or?
Yeah, this like I just have sources and everything beside them.
Footnotes at the bottom so you can properly cite.
MLA, man, MLA.
There you go. But no, actually, so Striker OD, who helps us out on the show, and you know, we like to play with him too, and he is just a crazy mastermind, and will just come up with like just stupid, not like because they're dumb, but just like things that you would never think of, or just like really almost gimmicky things, or you're just like, wait a minute, think about it. We have this and we have this. How do we make this work? Or like, not something who's like, okay, how can we make Jungle Luna work? And then we actually just sit there for a couple minutes, and we're just like, well, we'll have a support Drow, just get the levels up, and then you get your ultimate to help give the damage, and then, you know, and you'd find ways to make it work, or sometimes it wouldn't, and you go like, well, that either, you would actually get to look and see, did that actually just like suck and not make any sense? Or, you know, is it, oh, could we have done this differently? And instead of blaming it on something like, oh, we didn't get Faceless Void and Tinker on our team, you can go like, oh yeah, well,
that's my strategy every game.
Yes, it is.
Don't forget Doom.
Yes, Doom. Sorry, Doom save. I don't know where I was going with that anymore. You actually get to see like I guess again, some more of the strengths and weaknesses as opposed to this is good, this is bad because the metagame says so.
Mm-hmm. Like so you have like a mini Goblek on your in your stack.
Yes,
I suppose you could say that. Probably similar level of play as well. But no, actually, what was the today? I think he posed the question: how can we make a tri-lane with support anti-mage work? I think was the question posed today. So we were just ruminating on that, and I was like, maybe you're against an off lane that needs mana stolen, and maybe a slow you were saying would help against it so we could burn more mana. It's really a questionable thing. I think the only reason even things like that came up is just from we kind of gather it from playing or watching other streamers or things like that, and you're like, how can we interpret that into our gameplay and make something because obviously the element of surprise throws people off too, although in all pick it's always a surprise what you're gonna get. But
you know what gets me every single time, right? I'm walking through the enemy jungle. Let's say I'm playing like a Pudge, like some sort of like hunting hero. So I'm walking through the enemy jungle, and all of a sudden I see a Rubik farming a camp. I'm like, oh, free kill, yeah. So I go for it, and for some reason there's an anti-mage babysitting the Rubik, farming the jungle. It gets me every single time. I'm just like, why is this anti-mage babysitting the Rubik? I don't understand. And you will be surprised how many times you'll actually see that. Like, you'll just walk in, oh, what's this? A PL is babysitting a Wisp farming the jungle. Alright, cool, I'm dead. I just don't understand, man.
Yeah, it is funny how, I guess even other ways you can just be like, just going off of what your preconceptions are, and you can, okay, this is what I expect, and sometimes I'll just get turned on you because it's just something off the wall, and I guess that's maybe an extreme situation of it worked, so, but it is, I think, just great how if you just have the right mindset going into it, just like, with what we were talking about last week and just, raging out, if you just expect to go into these things, like trying to do the best you can with the situation you have, you can, I think, really learn a lot more than just like reading things on paper and accepting them for what they are. So
yeah, for sure. What you guys like the that rage quit or the anger management episode you guys had? One thing I thought of when I was listening to that is I don't understand, like I kind of had this idea before, but I don't understand really why people who play Dota like just casually, and by casual I mean like they're not professional players, why they get upset at the game. Like obviously I'm gonna sound a little bit hypocritical like saying that because everyone gets mad, you know what I mean? Right. But there's a difference between getting mad and literally dehumanizing the other people on your team. Because like in I play in NEL a lot, right? And a lot of people in there will be like, "Oh, like kill yourself," and you're like, "Wait a minute."
Did you mean that?
Dota. I thought we were playing Dota, and you know what I mean? Like it just gets to another level. And I understand maybe you want to be a professional player one day, like you're practicing, but you gotta understand it still is only a game. Like even if it is your career, it's still just the career, you know what I mean? You don't have to take it any farther than that.
See, Matt, someone else used the phrase besides me, so I'm okay.
There you go.
It's just a game. No, I agree completely. I mean, I said it in the thing, but I'm glad you could reference it and you appreciate it. But it's true. It's obviously has a lot to do with the anonymity. Oh no, the word again. I'm not gonna say it. The being anonymous on the internet. Yep, keeping it at that. But yeah, just because people, obviously there's like no repercussion if you say the most wild, ridiculous thing. Like you said, kill yourself. Who actually would ever mean that in a video game? It's just a game. But yet, because there's literally no, consequence of going out that phrase, they shoot right to the most extreme thing possible. And just because I guess they're that upset, they're allowed to channel it out through the text in the game. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And like you said, dehumanizing. I agree with that perfectly. It's like, these are like 9 other people you're playing with, like just like you. And
exactly, yeah.
Why are you taking it to that level? I don't know.
Maybe not as good as me, but
Well, we can't all have a voice of gold.
I'm absolutely awful. I'm absolutely awful.
I gotta say too, like I've just been, it's something that we talked about doing an episode. We did the episode, and we've had great people give us feedback. Mobius, I know, shout out to him, left this really nice comment on the YouTube, and even having done the episode and whatever, we've still been like thinking about it, and I personally have just really wanted to incorporate into things. And at this point, I feel like the only thing that I get super frustrated by is like when you know exactly what to do, and you're just like, hey guys, let's do this, and then you wind up, it just doesn't happen, right? And like you go like, this is exactly what we had to do. We saw it coming. This is what we should have done. Prepare. Everybody knew that. it didn't happen. Like, those I find really frustrating. But even you figure those games, like, if you lose for the exact reason that you think you lose, then what you should take away from that is that you knew exactly what was going to happen and you knew what to do to prepare for it. So I feel like even in those situations, like, it's, you know, it's always going to be frustrating when you, like, spend time into something and you're not able to get the experience out of it you want. But
Exactly, yeah.
those silver linings, I feel like, are so important to not even just, like, enjoying it, but even to getting yourself out of the trench here or improving. Like, if you're looking for the takeaways, then that's what's most important.
Yeah, the that's actually like talking about experience and whatnot. That's actually a really good way, or like something really good to keep in mind when you're playing. Is no matter whether you win or lose, if you give it your best, you're becoming a better player. Even if it's only marginally, you're still becoming a better player. Like if you compare the player before that game and the player after that game, 100% you're going to be improved. Even if, like I said, even if it's only a negligible amount.
Mm-hmm.
I think even like a game we were playing earlier, we got stomped all day. I just have to throw that out, and it was painful.
It was hard not to go into the anger thing we were just describing earlier.
Like I said, it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
But I just remember this one, like, the rune spawned, saw two people on the other side of the river. I'm just like, you know what? I think I'm going to be able to deny that rune real quick, run away. It's going to be great. Mistakes were made. But even, you know, a couple hours later, I'm just like, you know what? Now, next time I know, like, don't do it, whatever. Let them have it, back off, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, we got crushed, but didn't let it get to me and got something out of the game. So, you know, in the long run, a victory, that's how I'm going to choose to count in my book. 100% win rate.
100% win rate.
100% win rate in my heart. That's what matters.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, you first.
You're the guest, sir. Come on. Go
Fine. All right. Okay, so you said the like that's like what gets to you is when you have the ability to win, but you don't because, like, you know, mistakes are made. The one thing that gets to me, like on occasion when I do get mad, because, you know, I'm just like Gandhi level, peaceful and whatnot. Of course. So the thing that gets to me is when people on purpose will sort of defy you, and I don't mean defy as in like, oh, everyone listen to me, I'm the best. I mean defy as in I'm not going to do this just because you said to do it.
Spite, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, a spiteful sort of rejection where it's like, oh, you know, Cuddle, can I get a word? Like, can you give me a word? And then all of a sudden, you know, he feels like you're undermining his ability to play support, which is like, no, I'm going to the jungle anyway, let me just ward on my way, right? And then he won't give you a ward, and then you're like,
he'll place it in the fountain.
Exactly. And that's the kind of stuff that gets to me, because this is supposedly, quote-unquote, a team game, whereas you're just playing, you know, you versus us, you versus 9 people, essentially.
I just had an epiphany on life.
This philosophical journey we're going on tonight, fellas.
Someone's going to take this and write a dissertation on it.
Dissertation, eh?
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
It'll be me.
I'm not sure I know exactly what a dissertation is, but I'm pretty sure
this is a big enough word.
I think it's like a PhD paper or something.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. You figure, we're talking about, like, you know, you're on the internet, blah, 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 no face to, you know, the people that you're talking to, whatever, so you just tend to go off the deep end with, like, your insults and whatnot. But it is interesting, you know, it's a game that's completely built on a social dynamic of teamwork and everything, and you're trying to play it in an environment where that can just be completely broken down and shattered. And I feel like even putting in little steps to rebuild that, you know, just like your manner, because I've totally done the same thing you're just describing, where people will, they won't be like, hey, can I have a ward? They'll be like, buy wards. I'm like, F you, buddy, I'm going to go over here and get my Midas and you can deal with it. You know, it's like, even if you would just been like, hey, would you mind doing this? I feel like we could use this. This is probably what we should do, guys. It's like, just how you interact with people could so dramatically change the game. You know, people are always, you know, you can watch tutorials, you can watch pro games, you can watch all this different things to learn mechanics, but at the end of the day, you still have to interact with these 4 other people.
Is chat wheel too aggressive? Because
Yeah,
it does have a period and not an exclamation point.
I was actually just about to say, period at the end, GG, like rest in peace. That is so passive aggressive, man. Like if someone comes up to you, right, and you ask a girl on a date, you're like, hey, do you want to you know, like go out sometime? And if there was like an IRL embodiment of a period, oh my god, man. Like, can you imagine that? Hey, do you want to go out sometime? No, N-O.
This is it. You ready? Just do your little, you just tense the face real quick. Nope. That's the real life period.
The real life period.
Like the IRL period, man. There's no going back after that.
So you're saying the chat wheel is BMing us, essentially? Like,
Yeah.
It's making us rage harder by using their communication.
I think so, yeah. Because as of, like, originally, right, you'd only see the chat wheel, I don't know, this was like months ago when it came out, when muting was like around and stuff like that a lot more. It was kind of associated with, okay, this guy is a bad player or he's rude or something, that's why he's muted. So, you know, well played, well played, well played, we need words, we need words. That's what I associate it with, at least. So even if it's only sort of a very minor, like, insinuation, it's still there, if you know what I mean. So that's how I feel, at least. I don't know.
See,
I would prefer someone talk and just be like, can we have words, please?
That's fine, too. But I have no problem with someone saying we need words, but when they say we need words and then they ping you 3 times, then maybe it starts getting a little angry. It's like, excuse me. You know,
Excuse me?
I know who I am. I know I'm right here. Thank you very much. You know.
don't know me.
You don't know who I am. You haven't been through what I've been through here. I've had to pull 3 cribs here.
Exactly. But yeah, sorry, go on. Okay, you know what? You just go. Just say something.
Oh,
It's you, man. It's all.
oh!
You know, I've talked the least, to be honest, but
Now that I'm on the
I'll
spot,
sit back. No, you go. Period.
Yeah. So the thing that I think is like actually like hilarious, and I laugh at it all the time because it's like friendly bad manner that we've developed actually since anger management. When we were like, oh yeah, use the chat wheel. So we've been doing these things so much more now too, that whenever we would do something stupid, we would do the timestamp just to remind everybody else when that happened. Like,
It's all right,
you ran
guys.
straight in the enemy team at 12:03. Congratulations.
Alright, guys. Stupid decision makings on CD for another 2 minutes, guys. It's fine.
Yeah.
Essentially.
But I think it's impressive too. Like the one thing that I really, again, that I really like about Simplydota and what you're doing there is that it's at the next level, because I've actually been, my old man, BDLM senior, has I went to the international, I came back and was telling him about it. He's like, you know what? I'm actually going to download this game and try to play it.
Here we go.
Like, what are you talking about?
That's awesome.
Come on. So we're on the couch, and he's got the computer hooked up to the TV, and he's sitting there, and he's got his mouse on the arm of his chair, so there's no way that the laser's picking up his movements all the time. And I'm like, do you want, I'll bring a desk over. Do you want like a table? Nah, I'm good, man. And so he's sitting there, and he's doing the tutorials or whatever, and he's like, all right, what's this red bar? The red bar, that's your health. What's that mean? When that runs out, you're dead. I don't want to die. You don't want to die. What's the blue bar? Mana. What is mana for? See, those are spells. But so spells cost mana death. What if you're out of mana? Can't cast the spell. I don't know what else to tell you. And it was just so great because like you just take for granted. Especially we've had the opportunity of some of us found a Warcraft 3 map called Dota, and we've played it for all these years or whatever.
Aeon of Strife,
Dota
if you're
2.
really old school. You know.
Oh.
I know you're not that next level BDLM,
Little
but
town over there. You historian.
The Dota historians. At Dota historians.
Yes. But it's like some people are like just picking this game up because it's like blown up so much, and hopefully MMR would ideally put you in a group of people that are of your skill level and experience, but that's not always going to be the case. And sometimes I feel like you just take for granted like some of the things that people don't know or realize, and so I think it's always just something that's important to remember.
The thing with MMR, I'm just gonna go on a little rant here. I don't like it. That's not.
I was actually going to ask you a question about that too.
Shoot.
Because Magic Man has been talking to me recently about some MMR stuff, and I'm like, yeah, we were really trying to get the party MMR up, and he's like, party MMR doesn't matter. If you're going to have one that matters, it's going to wind up being solo because your party, it can be like all these different scenarios and which have you, and you might play with some people versus other people, and that's going to sort of adjust who you're playing with. So you're not even actually playing at your MMR level, and it's all sounded pretty legit. I was just wondering what your feelings were on, I guess, MMR in general and party versus solo.
I think, MMR, for the people that are like, oh, the trench is real, like, blah, 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 like, I don't believe in that. Like, I don't think that there is a trench. I think, relatively speaking, you were kind of where you belong up until maybe 5.5k. After 5.5k to, like, 10k, it's just about how much time you actually put into it. Like, the skill level is not that big of a difference. But before that, it's thing with MMR is it. Oh, my mic just like buzzed. The thing with MMR is it doesn't really it doesn't really measure. It pretty much it is a measure of how well you can carry people in that MMR. That's what I've come to kind of realize about it. Because as of now, I don't play that much solo rank, but when I do, trying to get back onto the leaderboards, what ends up happening is I get matched with maybe 4.2k players, and then I get we're against like 5k players, for example, right? So what ends up happening is it's as bad as it sounds. Like I don't mean to like sound cocky by saying this, but essentially at that point it's like me versus 5 people almost. Do you know what I mean? Because those people that jump between 4,500 or 4,200 to 5,000 is really, really like significant. So I'm at the point where MMR is just a measure of how well you can carry an entire game. Because, like I said, I'm not trying to sound cocky in saying this, but at the point I'm in, if I don't get a kill in lane, in mid, for example, if I don't get a kill and get like 2 kills in the other lanes, we just lose, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So, like I'm just rambling here, but essentially the TLDR is MMR is not necessarily a good rating because it rates you on how well you can carry other players as opposed to how good of a player you are.
I thought you were going to end with that with if you teach a man how to fish.
Yeah. In MMR, you just give them the fish.
You know what?
Teaching them.
I'm gonna hit you with a philosophical quote. Hopefully, I don't misquote this. I'm probably going to though. You are
what you
what? I was actually gonna say that. it was like like the Rene Descartes one where it's like you are what you think, or I think therefore I am.
Therefore I am. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. There's your quote. There's your quote quota for the day.
Great
quota. I like it.
I feel wonderful. No, I actually you make a lot of good points, but with the solo queue, maybe it's one of the reasons I just don't do it is that I just first of all, it's like it's so difficult for me to like get behind playing with 9 complete random people, especially 4 people I don't know on my team, because you really are relying heavily on these people you don't know to do their role and carry it out in a proper manner. And, you have essentially no control over the game. Whereas if you're with a stack, if you're on a team, competitive or ranked or whatever, at least you guys all have input and you can contribute towards it. And since it is a team game, that's why I love playing it with teams, because exactly. I like playing it in the way in which it's kind of designed to be played. So, I'm just not the biggest fan of the solo queue, and I understand it. It can be a way to measure, but like you said, it more is a way to measure how can I take these 4 players on my back and try to push through for a victory. And a lot of times that makes people feel like they have to play a certain way that might not be the proper way. Maybe they'll be more aggressive or do some moves that like they think, oh, I need to snowball, so I need to go get these kills, or who knows essentially what they're trying to do. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. And there's a reason that a lot of pro players are not in the top 50. They're going to be at whatever MMR they're at, but they're still way better than your typical player, even probably more than these top 50 people, just because they know how to do really well in which the game is designed to play, which is that 5-man Dota.
Yeah, just kind of touching on that, exactly, like that's why not like all pros are, number 1 on the NA leaderboard, just because they have better things to do, like they're not going to be grinding until they hit 8k maybe, or 7k, maybe Eternal Envy will, but like most of the time they have official matches to play, if it's after TI, then there's kind of like this huge hiatus or where they can do that. But like, for example, touching on like the whole, MMR is how well you can carry people. There was this person who, because I don't want to call him out, he will remain nameless. We will refer to him as Bob. Bob's pretty, that's pretty generic. That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Bob it is. So my stack got matched up against his stack, and he's, I'll just say he's like top maybe 25 on NA leaderboards, and no one wants to play mid against him. Of course, I'm, everyone's like, yeah, you go do it. So I'm like, fine, right? And this is sort of before my epiphany of, MMR is how well you can carry people, opposed to how good you actually are. So I go mid, and I actually just completely like just raffle stomp him, and I'm like, wait a minute, like how is this actually working right now, right? And then later on, he actually carried his entire team on his back, even though I got like 4 solo kills on him, and or not 4. That's kind of an exaggeration. It was like 2 solo kills, and
it was like 20. I don't know, some number. It was just impressive.
Yeah, like it was like 50 kills by 2 minutes. But yeah, he like that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Is he pretty much just carried his entire team somehow, and I was like, wow, okay, that's like a skill in its own, but that's pretty misleading if you know what I mean.
I have to say, especially, I have learned that the single worst thing that I can do to myself is enter into games as a duo queue, because I don't know why, but for some reason that just seems to throw like language preference out the window. Your MMR, it's just like, you want to play with 1K? All right, cool. But I've played a couple games lately with Magic Man, who also is, helps us out with the show and everything, and just several games where we just go like, all right, listen, our team and their team, they're just throwing themselves at one another, hoping that they wind up on top. So this is what we have to do to make this happen. Like, it's literally like, you and I have to figure this out so that we can make everybody else on our team successful. And like some of those games, I'm like Silencer, I'm like, dude, just get me the space to get Agnums, and I'll do whatever you need to get your character, whatever you gotta do. I'm gonna drop the ultimate, and then we hope for the best, right? Like, that's so many games in like those situations where, because I like playing the support Silencer quite a bit, I'm like, dude, just let me get the Ags, and then we pray after that, because it seems like it's just so weird how that just seems to happen. And do you think one is particularly better than the other, solo versus party?
I guess that was the initial question you asked. I never really got around to answering that, eh? Damn.
It's all right. I got it written down. It's fine.
You'll never forget, man. Just get it tattooed. Get it tattooed somewhere. You know what? I think... Oh my god, my mic. Did you hear that?
A little bit.
It was pretty hard not to hear it, but yes, it is a microphone. It did its job appropriately. Yeah.
He goes like... Okay, anyways. My party MMR is like 4K on the dot almost, and I play party a lot, right? But the thing with party is I'm in an environment where I'm like, I don't care. You know what I mean? I play with like duo queue, like you said, and I post this solo where I'll just pick like TA, Storm, Ember, Slark, my mid heroes. I'll just random. You know, the other day I played Earthshaker mid versus a Brewmaster, and you know I actually solo killed him, which is cool, but we lost the game anyway because of what's an Earthshaker to do. And
a little less impact than a Brewmaster big game. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. So, I guess if you just want to have fun, party's a lot better because you're in an environment which is actually conducive to having fun. You're with your friend, and you know you're losing. Let's grab some quelling blades and let's go start deforesting stuff with smokes. You know what I mean? Like when you're in solo queue, you're just like, okay, I'm gonna go high here so my KDR doesn't go any lower or whatever. So pretty much, if you want to hate yourself, play solo queue. If you want to have fun, play party queue.
I was trying to be silly while you were saying that, and tattoo solo versus party. Oh my! It didn't work.
Oh, it didn't work?
I just felt like I should share my failed.
Wow, that's
use
impressive.
of my time.
You know what? It's the thought that counts, man. It's a thought that counts.
I'm gonna throw beat on into this one because he asked Peru thoughts. I mean, how hard do you think it is to play with people that don't speak your language? I mean, I feel like it's kind of tough, and I feel like a great example of where it's just hard to succeed in an environment where you can't necessarily communicate with your team.
It's definitely harder at lower tiers because communication is actually really mandatory.
Yeah.
Higher up, you know, like if I'm playing with like my old team, for example, we played some scrims where we weren't even on Skype. You know, like I'd be like, oh yeah, like I gotta call my girlfriend or something. Like I'm gonna Skype her or something while I'm playing, which is probably a really bad idea anyways. But like we would just communicate with pings like the whole time, and we wouldn't even have to talk. But like I understand where people are coming from, where it's like, okay, this is super hard. You know, these people don't understand my language. But I think a lot more than that. There's like, after a certain point, people are just kind of in a way being like racist, where they're like, oh, he's Peruvian, we lost, like the game just starts, you know what I mean? And I've met a lot of Peruvian or Brazilian players who are like better than me, you know what I mean? Even if they don't speak my language, like that's pretty irrelevant, I'd say.
J4Y has never been on a call with a girlfriend or fiance while playing Dota. I just want to make that statement.
Not
ever,
once.
not even ever, except maybe a lot of times. And of course, everyone takes it out on me after like we lost because of you, and maybe a little bit is capable of that. But I always feel like I carry my weight. But on to another thing. Are you going to make a video about playing with Peruvian players?
Oh, that's pretty good, man. I gotta hire you.
Maybe it's like high-level use of the chat wheel, like, good interactions, drawing on the mini-map in certain ways to get them to get over here or something.
Volvo, idea donation. Have it so that you can change your chat wheel to be other languages, so that you can chat to... You can be like, oh snap, I'm on Team Peru. Set this baby to Spanish, and then somebody please buy words. Necesito words, por favor!
I think you can actually do that.
That would be amazing.
Well, I haven't seen your video yet, so I guess I didn't know.
Yeah, that's why I don't know about it.
You know what? First of all, thank you for the great idea. I'll definitely give you royalties on that.
I'll excellent.
Sports money I'm making, so I'm making tons.
Oh yeah, we are too. Believe me. Same boat.
That is sports money, man.
Oh yeah.
But second of all, do you guys use auto exec files?
I do not.
What about you?
I know they exist. I don't use
know
them.
they exist.
BDL doesn't know anything. He doesn't even know what that means. He might know what a file is. There's a chance.
Do you know what a file is? Okay, so pretty much it's like this, like it's like a notepad almost, and you can put it in your Dota settings, and it's like advanced configuration for stuff. And you can set it where it switches to different exec files, which is like configuration files based on what you're actually doing. So I think if you save... Like if you go to Google Translate and then save something, you can actually hotkey different keys to that auto chat, which would be in a different language.
That is really advanced.
Next level.
You're gonna have to make a video because that was incredibly good. That was not simple to me. Okay, I'm gonna throw it out there. This is called Simply Dota. You're not making it feel simple right now, but maybe if you make the video, I'll feel that way. I don't know.
All right, I'll make the video for sure.
Excellent.
But yeah, I don't know. It's like advanced chat wheel mechanics version 2.
I love it. Do you? By the way, when you make videos, I think I know the answer, but I am curious. Do you just do one shot YOLO and that's it, or do you actually do multiple takes?
On certain videos, I've been trying to find like a style that works for me, whether it be like scripted or just live commentary. But the way it works out is I usually do the video when I get home from work or like right in the morning when I'm really tired. Like some videos you'll hear me and I'll be like, hey guys, it's Roro of Simplydota. And other ones you'll be like, hey guys, it's Roro of Simplydota. Like I just woke up. So I'm trying to find out like what works for me. But on certain videos I have a script and I'll like sort of chop it up into different parts. Like on the offlane video, it's pretty blatantly scripted. Like you can, it's just way too, like the way I
robot,
say it, like, way too fluid. For like a human being to actually speak. Like no one's that charismatic at all. But then on other ones it's like the Doom jungling or the Darkseer jungling ones. Those are just one shot YOLO, like no scope 420 blaze it sort of.
You've already given me star power is the reason I went on this topic. Like, I don't think you even realized you gave me star power.
When did I give you
in the bottle efficiency tips and tricks farm faster video, you around 3 minutes in, I see from the upper right-hand corner of the screen a little message pop up. It's from me.
Oh no! What's it actually?
And I say, "Sounds great. Talk to you later." And so I get a shout out in your video without you even knowing.
Oh my god! I'm gonna have to charge you for that, man.
Oh no!
I'll send you my billables later.
I should charge you. I'm in your video doing work, and you're not even paying me for it. So
a little cameo appearance.
A little cameo on the side there. Nothing wrong with that.
Bottle Mechanics featuring J4Y.
There you go. At least put me in the title, if nothing else.
It'd be like, and also drop your items right before using the bottle.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I have to say, on that note, the show we do live or whatever, and there was one episode that we did that was so awful that we just forgot that it existed and tried to burn it. Apparently, you can't do that with files on a computer.
Those kind of files, yeah.
But for some reason, whatever I try to do scripted is god awful. The YouTube introduction video to our channel was like 20 attempts. It's a minute-long video, and it took me 20 times to get it right. It's awful.
Yeah, that's something I didn't want to run into. So like the little channel trailer thing that I have on my channel, I just scripted that. I was like, you know what, man? I know myself. I'm gonna just mess up and start laughing, or like start looking at this random bird flying outside my house or something, and I'm just gonna be here for like an hour. So I just scripted it up and did it on the first try.
Very nice.
Nice. I'm
Do you how do you come up with the ideas for your video generally? Because you have a ton of videos. You put out a lot of content, so it's really impressive that you just can pump out so much. So I'm curious, yeah, what's your train of thought?
Most of the time, it's what do I wish I knew when I was at this level? Like, what do I wish I knew about Dota? Sometimes it's like one of my buddies just asks me like, oh, can you make a video on this? Or if it's in the YouTube comments, someone's like, can you make a video on this? But most of the time, it's just me playing a game, or I watch a lot of my replays as well. So sometimes it's like, oh, like one of my friends wouldn't have any idea about this, so maybe I should just make a video on it.
Okay. Do you think there's a chance you'd ever run out of content, or you just think there's so many little things that it's like an endless supply?
It's like a permutative endless supply, man. You can just keep. Yeah, that was a pretty big word, I know. You can just keep mixing things up. You know what I mean? Let's say it's like, okay, I could do like 3 different levels, because I don't know if you guys know, but on my videos I have like this sort of green screen at the very beginning where it's like advanced, expert, beginner levels, so you know what you're actually watching. Let's say I do like 3 on the mid lane, then I can do 3 on the off lane, 3 on this, 3 on that, or I could just split that up even more into 9 for each one. You know what I mean? I think it's gonna, obviously I'll run out eventually, but then at that point hopefully there's other stuff to start doing.
Dota 3 will come out and you'll be fine
Dota
at that
3's up
point.
there. Yeah, exactly. But,
I feel like that's the great thing too, is, you know, because like things are so subject to change. You know, you even just look at how like how ridiculous some of the Aghanim's upgrades get to get added to the game. Like, can be so potentially game changing. I mean, you just look at like the changes to Tidehunter. Like, if you had done a Tidehunter guide, you know, 6 months ago, it would be about how to be a support Tidehunter, and now it's like, support Tidehunter, what are you? It's ridiculous. Go run them in the offlane like a normal person.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can get these like how to do ancients as Tidehunter, and like all this other stuff that you would not necessarily have gotten. And I think that's like part of the great thing about the patches that come out, that they have the potential to completely rebalance heroes, or brand them as being something completely different than how you had originally interpreted them or played them.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with the Valve. What's that guy that works at Valve? Eric Johnson?
Ice Frog.
Ice Frog.
Just kidding.
Eric Johnson, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right. But yeah, he like verified that they're going to be making their own heroes, like Valve heroes, like after all the Warcraft ones are ported. So I mean, with the addition of new heroes, if you look at it like historically, every new hero has kind of mixed up not only the meta but the mechanics of so many different things, and then they get patched and they get nerfed. You know what I mean? So
right.
I feel like there's just tons of possible content, and not to mention, like, if you look at some of my series, like I have one where it's like kind of like did you know things, where it's like, did you know you could do this? Like, did you guys know you could Midas and open wounds creep on Lifestealer and get like a crap load of HP from that?
I did not.
Well, there you go.
I have learned something. You just taught me to fish. I feel really good right now.
People are gonna hate us for how many times we're referencing that.
It's probably the title of the video already, so it's fine.
Just go learn how to fish already. When the aliens come over and take us all over, that's gonna be your only form of sustenance. So
Roro the
You
fisherman.
better know.
It's fine. It's a good title.
But yeah, the Did You Know videos, I have one for the Lone Druid. It's like, okay, if you're pulling on the offlane with your bear, you can use double stouts and like reduce the damage your bear takes by like X%, you know what I mean? So I can make a small little video on that, which is super educational, but then it takes me what, like 15 minutes to make, and there's tons of stuff like that.
Yeah, especially, I mean, I definitely wanted to ask you about some of the unreleased heroes, if you know anything about the ones that haven't been ported yet. But you know, like, we've even been watching them, and some of them are so just unique. And I guess to your point, you know, there are some heroes that when they come in, they're just such a huge shakeup because they are so unique, or bring something so unique to the table. Like Arc Warden, been watching, where you can, like, if you have a healing salve and then you use your ultimate to make a double of yourself, you can use that doubles healing salve on your main hero and not use your healing salve. So, and then Oracle too, that hero has so many different unique interactions with his spells. They're going to be a lot of fun to talk about and a lot of fun to play with once they get ported. But you have one in particular that you're looking forward to seeing come into the game of what remains?
Techies.
Lord.
Oh.
Wrong answer. Wrong
Ew.
answer. Oh boy.
I have to say,
well, enjoy your last time on the episode, the cast.
GG. GG. Rest in peace.
Nope. Please explain.
Honestly, I just want to see techies because I love when people get trolled and stuff like that. As long as I'm not having to exert any effort to troll someone, I'll happily just sit around and I'll just play along. But when techies comes out, it's on a different level, man. Like everyone is gonna be, like it's gonna be like two gangs just facing off in front of your house. You're gonna be like, should I call the cops? Maybe I should just watch. And then pop some popcorn, sit down outside and like at a very safe distance from your window, and then just watch, man. Just watch. That's exactly what's gonna happen. There's gonna be people who are like, techies for life, YOLO swag, and then other people will be like, oh, techies sucks, man, like you freaking suck, and then they're gonna like just go ham and they're gonna like attack each other.
Yes.
The riots will ensue.
Riots will ensue.
Striker OD is probably the biggest fan of techies of anyone I've ever met. He said he was the hardcore player of him in Dota 1. Loved to play that hero, and I think the way I put it was, as long as I'm on the team with techies, I'm okay with it. But if I ever play against him, I just will never use the secret shop. I mean, that's just what it comes down to at that point.
Just never have to move, man. Just never move.
Never move. Isn't that an ability? No, maybe I'm wrong. That's fine. I tried to relate. It didn't work.
Jesus.
It's fine. You can't hit the shots you don't take. I think I heard that once tonight, so,
Oh, man. Dude, you're like my protege.
Protege.
That's even better. You should have kept and owned it, man. Oh,
Why am I a part of this?
Oh my god, that was actually so unintentional, but like it just worked out so amazingly well. You are my protege.
I'm glad I can be a part of that.
I have to say, I feel like techies is such a polarizing hero that, like, I started playing Dota later than Jay and some other of our friends, so I actually never got to experience techies and have any first-hand experiences with him. But because he's such a polarizing hero, and just like you're looking over his kit, and now he's added to captain's mode in Dota 1, right? So he has to be somewhat balanced, right?
Right.
I'm just really curious to see what can be done, because of course they're going to be like the 99% of people that just like play him and just do like really trolly stuff. But I have faith in my buddy Striker. He's going to find some really serious ways, really serious angles to play the techies, and it's going to be great. And I'm sure that there are like a lot of things that people don't really think about or appreciate with that hero, and it's going to be one of those things where, like, you have those did you know, where this hero that all you see is this maybe super trolly stuff, where you find there's actually really cool stuff this hero does that other heroes can't give you, like the potential to zone out particular areas in the map, etc.
Yeah, no, I think he's actually a strong hero if you use him properly. Like, do you remember there was like a point where everyone was like, if you ask someone, well, who's the worst hero in Dota 2 right now, everyone would be like, Meepo. Meepo, he's so awful. He's so awful. Mm-hmm. And then they buffed him, so he got his ultimate at level 3, I believe. That's when people started turning around and being like, oh, he's like super strong now. But the thing is, that's not necessarily what made him that strong. It's just he's his own unique hero, and he does things differently than everybody else. So I think it's going to be sort of the similar thing with techies. Like, if you every hero has like their own specific like niche in the game, and I don't think it's going to be any different for techies.
People fear that they don't understand.
Oh my god, you're one-upping me now.
I'm sorry, I just studied it for one night in a hotel room, and I think I'm pretty confident with my abilities. But it's true, though. And think about Earth Spirit. I mean, I still am afraid of him, because I know the combos are the scariest thing in my life. But
he's really strong.
He is one of... I hear time and time again from, like, upper-level players that he's, like, pretty much broken because of how strong his combinations can be. But, since I don't understand it, I avoid the hero. And I never, think about our party rank. When's the last time I saw an Earth Spirit in party ranked? I can't even tell you. It probably was when he came out. Like, I haven't seen him since then, because everyone is so afraid to play something they don't understand. Like, there's no Meepos, there's no Earth Spirits. The Phoenix is pretty straightforward, so he gets picked. But besides that, I mean, yeah, I completely understand that. So Techie's just going to be one of those things. He might get picked up just so, like you said, the trolling aspect. Like, someone will go the suicide build and just try to kill everyone on sight. But
what do you mean suicide build? That's the only build.
See, and this is me knowing nothing about the hero. That I bet Striker D's like rolling over in his chair. That doesn't make sense.
No,
he's
I'm
probably
kidding. Like,
sitting in his chair rolling, and whatever. The point is, He's in a rolling chair, and he's just upset
Doing
with
rolling.
what I just said. But yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I have to be honest though, and this is actually kind of a serious question. I know it's been a completely unserious cast mostly, but I feel like they nerfed him with the size of his model. What do you think?
Sorry, who are you talking about?
Techies.
They nerfed what? When did they? What did they nerf?
I said the size of his model seems a lot bigger.
Model.
Did they actually?
Have you watched videos with him? Have you watched? Did you watch the game?
I played. Are you talking about the All-Star game?
Yeah.
And it compared to now, or are you talking about
compared to his Dota 1 model?
Oh, I didn't play very much techies in Warcraft Dota.
I mean, it's like that.
Like to Han, and then I played a tiny bit of Han, and then I went to League, and then I went from that to Dota 1 and Dota 2 again. So.
I mean, it's like the Ogre Magi and the Lifestealer nerfs, you know? Lifestealer doesn't look like a creep, and Ogre Magi can't hide in the Ogre camp at night.
That was the greatest thing in the world, man.
That video was beautiful.
That was so good.
Yes. We probably need to link that at some point in our Facebook page, just so people can appreciate the value of that. But I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it appears that he's a good amount bigger, because it's like one goblin pushing another one in a cart, and he's like horizontally or vertically, whatever way, he's longer. And whereas the other tech is like three little goblins grouped up together, and it was a very small.
I can see what you're saying for sure. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a big nerf. Like, it's definitely something. You know what I mean? Like, whether you change, like the animation for something, even like a BAT switch, like it definitely changes something, but it's not the biggest deal. I mean, it's not gonna really, like you know, Syndrin, right? What he says about nerfs and stuff like that is, as long as the hero is still that hero afterwards, and like the gameplay doesn't get affected too much by that, then that's not that big of a nerf. I probably misquoted that, but that's essentially what he says, and I think that kind of applies here. Sorry, go on.
I think that's something that's really interesting about the heroes that we haven't seen ported in yet, is that, you know, right, like when Dota 2 came out, like International 1, right, people are talking like, oh, it's really interesting that, you know, the Dota 2 map is slightly smaller than the Dota 1 map, and some spells interact slightly differently than they used to, you know, like Crystal Maiden couldn't freeze Batrider in Dota 1, right, because of just the way that Firefly interacted with other spells and abilities. So it is something I think is really interesting to consider. You know, there aren't too many heroes, only the 5 left that we have to worry about that transition for, but it is kind of interesting to note that that's something they have to sort of take into consideration, and how the perception and the ability of that hero might change just based on going from one engine to the other.
Kinda cool. It's good that we have a benchmark though, because I feel like the Dota 1 interactions, you know, minus a few like the freezing the Batrider, which I mean it just should work, right? Apart from that, there's like a benchmark. If something works a certain way in Dota 1, then Valve tends to sort of just leave it that way, if it makes sense. So that it's good that there's sort of something set in stone, opposed to like a whole new balancing. Because some of the balancing from Warcraft will actually carry over. It's not like we're rebalancing a whole new game.
I like too. It's going to be interesting, especially again because some of these heroes are so unique. Like when you look and compare, like how Spectre was completely broken compared to Spectre, like as in a bad way, compared to Dota 1 Spectre, and like no one just realized it. Yeah, with how Haunt interacted. But yeah, just random musings. So it's really interesting.
What do you guys think of Spectre?
He is the best mid hero in the game currently.
Ancients.
I have 100% win rate with it.
You know what? I actually don't doubt that. That's like you can just haunt.
It's next level.
Slay a few people, haunt back or whatever, and then
you haunt in. You got the bottle, so you got good mana. Level 6. The gank is so good. You can be anywhere on the map when you want to be. Well, not when you want, but once. It's nice.
I like the modern or contemporary conception of Spectre versus the older one, where it's just like sit farm, blah blah blah. I really enjoy the like more points in Desolate, using farming with her, but then using Haunt to participate in the fights, but you don't have to be around your teammate your team in order to set up for team fights. That I actually think is really cool. I do wish we saw more of it. I feel like she's pretty legit.
I think she's really legit because late game she has like 3 lives. I think that's especially because she has 2 steroid abilities, like the Dispersion and Desolate. But I think that's part of the reason she's so strong late game is she essentially has 3 lives. You can get an Aegis, you can like just be there in the fight, and then you can just buy back and then use her ulti.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just so hard to kill like in the first place, so I think she's super strong. I think she's gonna get buffed next patch, actually.
Think so? Do you have any other heroes that you would maybe like to see buffed, or heroes you like to see nerfed?
I can say nerfed off the top of my head because there's just like those few cancerous heroes, but I'm gonna have to look up a hero list for the ones.
Not Cancel Lancer anymore. He needs his name changed back to Phantom Lancer because
you know
he's no longer a cancer. He was removed.
Yeah, he was benign.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, but the thing is, oh yeah, nice, you linked me. Yeah, I almost called him Cancel Answer again. Jeez, you got a name switch. He's actually one of the funnest heroes to play, or most fun heroes to play in my opinion. Like he's just so relaxing. Same with Anti-Mage. Like Anti-Mage is one of my favorite heroes, and you just get a Battle Fury, you know, tread switch while you're farming, and easy. Like you'll just come out 6 slotted at like 30 minutes. Just so fun. As for nerfs, I think Doom's gonna get nerfed. I think something really indirect, like maybe Level Death won't proc Lincoln's popping anymore.
Wow, that's just a whole nother level that I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think that's something just to make Lincoln's a little bit more viable against him because overall I don't think he's that broken. Just his ultimate's really like too strong. And then of course there's some weird interactions with his ultimate, like if you doom Witch Doctor who has his Food of Restoration up, it won't actually cancel it. I guess it's arguable that you can say that's fine, like that's supposed to work because it's toggled on already. But yeah, just weird interactions like that.
Silencing Pudge when he's rotting really sucks because then you just kill yourself. You're like, oh no, this is bad
but the
news.
thing with that is, I think there's like a pretty good chance you can actually deny yourself if you're not getting right-clicked.
Bloodseeker is the ultimate counter to Pudge, is what I'm trying to say here. Obviously,
you heard it straight from the next level.
The next level Bloodseeker player in the cast here.
I'm actually really curious to see how Tinker is adjusted. I can't
imagine
doesn't get adjusted.
Oh my god!
That I feel like
just learning him. I'm just learning him.
Oh, you're
I
just
feel like
learning him.
How's that
going?
Indirect.
Oh, I was actually going to ask you for tips this episode. I was going to ask you for some tips on my mid-tinker action. I mean, it's flawless, essentially, so it's going to be hard to find some.
It's hard to improve perfection.
It is. It really is. But if you had to try, what would be some suggestions for a new tinker mid player? Well, mid, as opposed
without
to other
seeing
ones.
You play, it's hard to say, but what build do you go for, like skill-wise?
I do the same exact thing every game, so this is going to be easy. I do first point laser, and then I go stats the rest of the game, and I'm done. No, and then I switch between that and... well, no, not switch between. Let's see. I can do this not complicated.
You got
so
it.
I go laser,
really easy.
March, and then either laser or March is my third point, depending on my lane. And then I always max out March. And then I only get the 2 points in laser, and then I max out missiles next. And I usually only put the 1 point in the ultimate till, like, I don't know, 14 or so? 15 maybe?
Yeah, your build seems not that bad. Especially, like, unless you are really farmed, you don't need the second level, because it's just so mana intensive. As for laser, you usually want to keep it at, like, 2, because that's, like, the sweet spot where it's really effective for how much mana you're using.
Okay.
Heat-seeking missile is... Late game, it's like really good damage source because you get two missiles that each do that instance of damage for like essentially like this like same mana cost. And then I assume you like stack.
I try to stack. I think one thing I'm guilty of, especially on Radiant, is I don't do the sweet jungle spot where you hit all 3 camps.
3 camps, yeah.
Because I watch a lot of streamers play Tink. Like whenever one is, I just go to their stream and try to absorb knowledge from them. Like Arteezy does a really great job of it. But Dire, see, Radiant I think I got pretty good. Dire I think I struggle with a lot because stacking Ancients feels awkward. And I don't know anything about any jungle sweet spots. Is there any advice for a Dire Tinker?
There's one where you get 2. Like on the very right side, like towards your fountain, you can get the hard camp and the medium camp. Mostly though, the efficiency comes from clearing the camp when you're marching, and if you can't clear it, then you make sure it stacks. So there's timings on the stacks for that. And it's usually you usually want to coincide it with like when the robots actually hit them, and you gotta like account for maybe like a second or two for when that actually goes, and then you gotta stack it again so you get 2 stacks in those camps. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's where most of the efficiency comes from. That. Yeah. As for the ancients, you usually want to push the lane really, really hard. That's why Soul Ring's super good.
Yeah.
So you just push the lane with March, rearm, do it again, make sure you get as many last hits as you can. Then you run down and maybe like, I don't know the timing off the top of my head. Maybe I'd say 40 seconds is pretty safe.
To go get it and stack it up.
Yeah, to start running towards the ancients. And if so, it's like X40, you could always rune at the same time. If it's like an even minute. Do you go Blink Dagger after?
I usually go Bottle. Well, I've recently been going just Null Talisman right off the bat, and hopefully I get a couple shared tangos. And then I go Bottle into Soul Ring into Bots into Blink. And then I usually finish the Null into a Dagon. I do the same build. I haven't even tried to Diverge once, although I haven't played a lot. I haven't tried, and then I get the Dagon, and then I'll either go E-Blade or max the Dagon or something, depending, I guess, what I'm doing.
Like I said, like habitual builds aren't something you really want to stay away from. But then again, you need to understand the hero,
right?
And then you can be like, what do I need? What's good here? So I guess doing a habitual build just to learn is all right. I don't know. It's something you want to stay away from. But if you need to do that to sort of,
if I'm against an all tanky team, I think I wouldn't build a Dagon. Like I would go something else instead. But or at least not right away. But
yeah,
like I definitely understand what you're saying. For me, it's all about learning the timings, like knowing how to, first of all, shift queuing spells. I have never tried it before until this hero.
Oh my god!
Which is sad to say, but I've never used shift queuing spells ever in Dota.
Oh my god!
Until I played this hero.
Honestly, it's a really underused thing, and I assume you shift queue Blink right into trees.
Oh yeah, shift queue Blink, shift queue like Soul Ring into. I mean, marching. It's like I'm trying to do a lot of different things, and it's just a huge learning curve because you're so. And I don't want to mess up the timings because if I cancel a TP or something, you completely throw off your whole cycle.
Yeah. If you like cancel a rearm or then you're gonna.
I think. Have you done a shift queue move video yet?
No, but that's actually a good idea.
That'd be a great video, and
royalties.
I would watch it. Yeah, we need some royalties. I'm telling you. I mean, look at this. We're just bouncing them off the walls here. But
I gotta hire you, man.
Full time. What's the pay? Is it looking good?
I'll give you
some quotes, some fish, possibly some knowledge.
I'll throw some quotes your way, maybe a hug here and there, but we're still looking into the payments.
Okay.
So yeah, you shift Blink into trees, right?
I try to stay in the tree line if I can.
Okay, after a while, you actually get to know the sweet spots because there's certain trees. If you try to shift queue Blink into them, you'll just like end up outside them.
Whoops.
So, whoops. And then you just get owned. Yeah, a lot of the hero, like as just with Dota, is experience. Once you start, figuring out the sweet spots for the trees, like the sweet spot for farming. If I blink into these trees and there's 3 heroes in the lane, can any of them kill me? Even though I'm just marching. But then again, that's also, like I said before, like a lot of people don't think, right? All you need to do is, as you're TPing in or as you're in your fountain bottling up, dropping your Dagon so you regen faster, doing your.
I saw that video. I saw that one. I know.
Oh yeah, you got me, man. So yeah, then you just think, this guy, there's 3 heroes here. This Mirana has a leap and an arrow, so maybe it's not the best idea to go into this lane. Or what if there's 3 melee heroes? I just saw Earthshaker use Fissure, so he's not a threat to me. I actually just made a video on decision making. It's like my first video on decision making. I think I nailed it pretty well though. Like I kind of break it down into like 3 steps of how you need to dissect the situation, and that's the way I kind of do it. I'm not sure how other people do it, but it's gone to the point. Like, do you guys like check inventories and like mana and all that?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah, like when you first start doing that, it seems really foreign, right? Like it feels really weird to be like, why am I looking at this guy's inventory? Or what? Like some people just click on it and then they just do it just for the sake of it because they see people doing it, but they don't actually do it to see if they have mana or what items do they have. It's 20 minutes. This guy only has a Midas. Maybe he's going Radiance or something. So it feels weird, but after a while, you do these 3 steps very like calculatedly in your head, just automatically. That's a lot of LYs, damn. But yeah, like you should check that video out. I think I nailed it pretty well. It's all about decision making and when you should go in, what happens if you do this, Can you do anything in the fight? Blah 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 blah.
Excellent.
My my only complaint is that you didn't tell him to go Aghanim's Bloodstone every game.
Oh,
Which
how could I?
Aghanim's. God, I want to do it just once though. Just once. I want to find a game where I would want that in my lineup.
I've never done that before. I've never done it. It just seems so awful.
I mean, I kind of get it, but not really. I kind of get it for the siege, I guess, but no. It feels like, how often are you trying to rocket 4 people and then you need it that many times? I don't know.
I think you can get. I'm probably gonna. I don't know. I feel like if you, the Aghanims doesn't increase the damage per rocket, does it?
No. It's just quantity, and then the laser I think gets range.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So on the Razor also is like 4 lasers or something, right?
No. Same one laser, just extra range.
Oh, okay. 4 lasers. I think I'm thinking
4 lasers I would get it every
it
time
is.
if I could give your whole enemy team mischance. Yeah, let's do that.
That's okay.
That sounds good.
I think F-Blade, level 5, Dagon, and then your 2 nukes is actually more damage, single target damage.
Oh, yeah, the max Dagon is insane damage. Like,
Yeah, so I think that's more efficient per mana unit. I'm not sure, but the whole Aghanims on Tinker, it's really similar to the Aghanims online, where it's like, YOLO, we're already winning. Like, you only buy that if you're already winning, you know what I mean? You're not going to bypass your core F-Blade, Dagon, Blink, Hex for Aghanim's Bloodstone.
It looks like Joe saying support Ags Tinker incoming. So,
sorry?
Our viewers, Joe saying support Ags Tinker incoming.
Oh, that's definitely a thing, man.
Of course it is.
You're Joe's new best friend. He is adopting you into his
Sounds like you need to
circle.
play with our stack, is what it sounds like here, Roro.
Yeah, anytime, man. Just shoot me an invite. What I've been doing lately, though, is just fiending a lot of StarCraft. So can we just play StarCraft?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're talking about Dota, so it's totally fine. No, that's good.
Do you guys play StarCraft?
Oh, once upon a time.
Yeah,
over a blue moon. It was.
I suck at that game.
Just
anyway.
custom maps these days. There's no more try hard. There never was for me. I think maybe BDL did a tiny bit with Protoss, but I never
play
dabbled.
Protoss?
I tried.
Oh, you're disgusting. You disgusting.
Oh.
Ouch! I know you play Zerg, Roro, don't you?
No anymore, man.
We invite you on our show, and this is what you...
I know, right? No royalties. Calls out our races. I don't know what's next with this guy. Oh,
I'm just
jeez.
a terrible human being, apparently.
All around, you're dehumanizing. What am I saying?
Oh my God, words.
It's been a long night.
It has been a long night.
We'll dub over that part of the episode and just dehumanize.
Dubstep?
Like a British guy. Dehumanizing.
Yes.
Quite.
For...
Surely good.
Yeah, exactly.
And now that we've taken this to a wrong level, you got any final questions for Roro for now? This shouldn't be the last time we have him on here anyways, but anything for tonight?
That was going to be my last question is, when can we have you back? And,
in 2 hours.
Yeah, I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. Let's do a synchronization of our watches here.
Perfect. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Absolutely, guys. It's amazing YouTube channel. Go check it out. Simplydota. A lot of great tutorials, information on there. A lot of great ways just to improve your play. So you definitely have to check them out. We're going to be putting this on our Dota On Demand website. It will be up in the DoD Presents section. And then, of course, will show up on the RSS feed. So you guys will be able to check it out there. Roro, go ahead and plug your wares, my friend. Where else can people find you?
You can find me streaming occasionally. I tend to stream, just random games, though, just when I'm feeling like a casual. So twitch.tv/RoroDota. You can also tweet at me at twitter.com/RoroDota, and of course youtube.com/SimplyDota. Feel free to let me know about what videos you guys want me to make. I also do free coaching for subscribers 1 to 2 times a week, and I'll post the VODs for that too. So
guess I need to subscribe so we can do
exactly. And one other thing is I'm just trying to start up a new series where it's 1,000 to 5,000 MMR in a week, which is essentially just false advertising because it's not going to happen. But the concept of the series is I'm going to go. The first day it'll be a 1,000 MMR replay, then from a viewer. Then I'll do 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and kind of just. I won't talk about how to jump from 1 to 5, but I'll be like, this is how you get from 1 to 2. Then I'll be like, this is how you get from 2 to 3. Yada yada yada.
Very cool.
Yeah. So
Great.
thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. The pleasure was ours. So there you have it, friends. Go out there, watch some Simply Dota, and then go play some old-fashioned Dota. We will see you guys next week.